like to welcome everybody to tonight's Farmington Board of Selectmen's meeting for Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. Item number 1, everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. Moving along to item number 2, is to appoint Christian Waller, Town Manager of Farmington, to the Executive Committee of AvCog, Androscoggin Valley Council of Governments, effective immediately.
Also move that.
Second.
Immediately.
Immediately, like tonight. So, I'm assuming that's where you are right now, right, Christian? So, with that, any other questions, comments? There's been a motion and a second to appoint Christian Waller, Town Manager, to the Executive Committee of AvCog, effective immediately. All in favor? Unanimous. Congratulations, Christian, you got something else to do.
Thank you.
Item number 3 is to approve an application for taxi cab business license for Tommy Joseph Flaherty? Flaherty, okay. I knew I was gonna mess that up.
You're not French, eh?
No.
No.
Nope, no, not. So, first of all, I'd like to welcome you to try and start this, and a little background on you.
I lived in Madawaska, Maine, and Forget, Maine, and I just recently got married and decided to take my cab business and bring it down a little bit further south with me.
Very nice.
And so far, because before I moved here, I questioned any town ordinances to the police department, and they said, nope, we don't have one. Okay, no problem. So I started operating it, and then a sheriff comes up to me and asked me if I'd take prisoners home until after they're done their sentences. And I said, sure, why not? So he instructed me to give some cards out. I went to the police department again in Farmington, and I asked them, do you have ordinances? Are you sure you don't have ordinances? Because I'm willing to buy them. I don't want no tickets. And yeah, we got ordinances. Just go check the town office. I said, that's different from what I got a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I'm gonna go buy your ordinances, and well, I'm gonna try to start the business up in Farmington because I need something to do. So
Perfect. We can certainly use a taxi service. So, Christian, you have anything to add to this?
No, I did see the gentleman who just spoke. I just happened to be going in to see Chief Charles on the day that he was leaving after going in to inquire of the police department, and have no, aside from the information and the application, no other input.
Perfect. Kind of ironic you're here. I was actually talking with somebody that ran a taxi here for about 20 years today, that there wasn't one in the area. Then there needs to be. So it's just kind of funny how that works.
yeah.
So,
I'd make a motion to approve the application for a taxi cab business license for Tommy Joseph Ford.
Second.
been a motion and a second to approve the application for a taxi cab license to Tommy Joseph Plurd. Any other questions, comments? Steve?
Sir, I see on your application, you've got your Aroostook County address. Are you gonna have a local address you're gonna work from?
I work from Jay, but the business was originally based in Aroostook County.
Sure.
So I just left the stuff there because when companies like the hospital sends checks over, my mother puts them in the bank for me, so that's why I left it there like that. So I don't have to worry about monies, they just float in the bank and I don't have to worry about it.
Sure. Well, I don't want to cause you any bank funds to be floating around. I'm just
Yeah.
curious if you're going to have a local address I could put on here, not a
Yeah,
Port Kent
I
address.
do have a local address. It's 37 Pleasant Drive. Jamie,
In Jen,
yeah, and I don't know what the zip code is. I think it's 04239.
that's fine. And your hours of operation?
Yeah, the hours of operation depending on how the need is. I sleep during some between some calls, so I kind of keep it open as needed
Very good. That's all I have. Thank you.
because the hospital calls at night, in the middle of the night, so I don't like to keep them stranded.
Yep.
If they need a ride, they can get one.
Understood. Good for you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Moving along to item number 4, that's to consider the applications of John B. Clark and Alexandria Makris as associate members on the Conservation Commission. We've got our applications in front. I think our Conservation Commission is really going to do really well with the addition of these two people. Myself,
Scotty?
Thank you.
so. Anything to add to that, Christian?
Thank you.
No, I'm just glad that there's continued civic interest in the commission.
And these are both for associate member.
Correct.
Yep,
They were qualified.
They do.
very much qualified.
I would make a motion that we approve both applications to the Conservation Committee, associate members.
Second?
Been a motion and a second to approve the applications of John B. Clark and Alexandria Makris as associate members on the Conservation Commission. Any other questions, comments? I only add that I appreciate when people step forward and volunteer their time like this, and it's greatly needed. It's part of what makes the town what it is. So, with that, all in favor? Unanimous. Moving along to item number 5 is discuss proposed changes to the town marijuana ordinance put forth by Ryan Morgan. Ryan?
Steve, want to lead off? I know Rick talked to you this morning.
Yeah,
He had told me.
sure. Ryan and I have discussed the possibilities. He's interested in having a store in town, a marijuana store. And of course, we've used up all of our current slots. And I explained to him, you know, he did also want to do one downtown, and I explained the situation where we just had one grandfathered one on Broadway. And in the ordinance, it just said that was if you were in business as of December 31st, 2017. That's why that one was grandfathered. But right now, in the Village Business Historic, which is the core of our downtown, no more stores are allowed. So he understood that he'd have to go to the zoning board and present that with an application asking for that designation to be changed from an N to a Y to have any more stores in the downtown area. So that's one of the steps. And another step is to modify certain sections in our marijuana ordinance that would speak to this, and mainly the numbers too. We have to discuss tonight what we think might be an adequate increase in any of the numbers that we allow for various marijuana businesses. So, but those would, you know, whatever the results would be, changing the, you know, those changes to the zoning ordinance have to go to the zoning board, but then they would come back to the Board of Selectmen as a warrant article.
Right.
To be approved to put on a town meeting warrant. Same is true of the tweaks we'd have to make to the marijuana ordinance also, would go up as a warrant article for a town meeting. So I just explained the process to Ryan, and I made sure that he, you know, I asked him if he had any questions, and he understood what it involves. And so that's how we just got rolling on this. So I think the big questions are, you know, do we want to consider adding any stores to the downtown? And also, you know, do we want to add to the current numbers we have for various marijuana businesses? And we do have, I'd say, right now, I have notifications of intent from 3 individuals that are interested in stores, 2 that are interested in manufacturing, and 1 that's interested in a grow. This is townwide. I think one thing we've had this ordinance for 2 years now, so we've done pretty well, I think, administering it, getting it off the ground. Like all our ordinances, they get tweaked and whenever the need arises. I think one important thing, if we do change anything in the ordinance, like we don't distinguish in how many cultivations, excuse me, or manufacturing places are medical or adult. We let, you know, the applicant decide that. They do decide with the stores, but we've categorized it for 4 adults and 3 medicals. So I think in the future, we should just say we'll have X number of stores and just leave it to the applicant to decide what kind of store it's gonna be. But because the state's headed that way, really.
Yep.
And I just think, you know, so that's, in a nutshell, what Ryan and I discussed. And I'm more than willing, like with anybody that comes in and wants to attempt to change to an ordinance, to show them the ropes and how it's done. And, you know, that's pretty much the extent of it. But yeah, it's the will of the citizens to propose these things, and the will of the voters to go up or down on proposed changes. So yeah, that's yeah. There are interests from other parties in doing additional marijuana businesses in town. And that's why I gave you the numbers that I've got in my sheet with notifications of intent. They understand that unless the ordinance gets changed, it stays the way it is. And but that by way of background is where we're at, and yeah, the process. And so I would listen to Ryan, find out exactly, you know, I'd explain to him what this would cause for changes in the ordinance, so he knew exactly what was going to be in a warrant article. And then his particular interest in having one downtown, how, you know, that process with the zoning board. And yeah, just go step by step, work his way through it. And yeah,
Perfect. Thank you,
that's where
Steve.
we are now.
Right. Brian?
After reading all 18 pages of the warrant article and highlighting and going through everything, yeah, what a good time. Once again, I go back to my previous comment that open the storefronts up to the public. I mean, the public's gonna determine how many grocery stores, how many gas stations, how many record guys, how many jewelers, how many post office, all the way up to how many marijuana stores. The public, and we all work for the public, or I used to work for the public. You guys do it now. Let the public decide. That's all I ask. It's only fair. I mean, just the way it is. I know the gentleman that's offered me the space has asked me some questions of frustration, especially since he had a marijuana business there when he bought the place. And I don't have the answers for him, but I don't. Maybe one of you guys or whatever you want to draft, but he had said he'd talk to Steve, and I hadn't get a chance to talk to Steve. I went home and read the marijuana ordinance and read a few other things, and that's all I'm asking is just a chance for free market to work. Are we the town of free market or not? I mean, there's too much, not too many more things that can damage our town than what's down there.
Matter of opinion, but 100%. So, that. Good? Okay. Any questions, comments? Brian?
Nada.
No?
Well, I have a
Mr. Falk?
I guess I have a comment.
Okay.
You know, we spent a year or more working and tweaking and developing an ordinance. And once we got done with that and felt that it was the best way constructed to suit and fit the needs of the town voted and approved it. The town voted for this ordinance. Didn't come just from us, it was voted to be accepted. To change it, yeah, the town would have to be the ones that decide there's a need to change it. If they look to us to tell them what that need is, right now, my understanding would be, just want another store. You want more storefronts. And the ordinance stated for the size of the town, and especially downtown, they set it at that. Me personally, I think we did a hell of a job, and that's the way it's currently written. If the townspeople say they want to change it, and they want to allow more storefronts, well, then who am I to argue with them? But if you're asking me to, you're not asking, I'm giving you my opinion. But I support the ordinance the way that Steve worked his butt off to get this thing. We looked at other towns. Other towns don't look like this.
No.
We're a little
Wilton
different.
just went open completely because the threat of lawyers coming to the town. Set their settlement back and said, look at this. Because that was set in 2019. This is 2021. We're almost into 2022. I've got a 1964 National Electrical Code Handbook. Would you like me to use that one? Or would you like me to use the new ones? I mean, things change over time, Mike.
So things change.
You have to adjust.
But I don't want to split hairs and argue with you. Wilton chose to go this direction, wide open, if you will. We chose to go in this direction, closed, if you will.
No problem.
That's the.
I'll see you back in court. Have a nice day.
Something they said.
Apparently so.
You asked for thoughts, I had a couple.
Thank you for that. Just so you know, Christian, Ryan just left, so.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, Matt?
Just so you know, Ryan left,
Okay.
so. Bill?
Just a question. It seemed to me that Steve alluded to the fact that there may be other sections of the code that need to be adjusted, the law that need to be adjusted, other than just the number of stores. Is that a separate issue, Steve? Is that, is the number of stores one issue and just tweaking the rest of the law as long as we're looking at it another issue, or are they somehow tied together? How many other sections are involved?
I condensed it into just being, he's got to approach the zoning board, because what he's interested in doing would mean the zoning board would have to review his proposed changes to that ordinance, the zoning ordinance, as well, and that's the particular domain of the zoning board to look at changes to the zoning ordinance. Any change to any other ordinance, such as our marijuana ordinance, would go straight to the Board of Selectmen for an up or down on a warrant article. Much like whatever came out of the zoning board would still have to go up or down through a warrant article at town meeting. And they wouldn't be very lengthy. Ryan was describing something that's voluminous. I mean, these warrant articles would be short. I guess I feel part of my job is no matter who comes through the door, if they want to try something, I describe the process to them and they go for it. And so I may be dancing around your question, Dennis.
No, just curious,
But
because I haven't read all 18 pages.
But I don't think, our ordinance isn't a train wreck. There's really, unless somebody wants to engage, go down a road such as Ryan's described, then you would incur these changes. Right now, we're running fine. But I think it's also, you know, my job to make the process available to anybody that has a consideration. Just, you know, not to go back and rewrite history here, but, you know, we've had this happen with our zoning ordinance and whatnot over the years.
Right.
But you know, everybody, this board has to decide whether something has risen to the level of being an approvable warrant article to go for a town vote. But, you know, I just don't want to deprive any citizen who comes in with any idea. I want them armed with the tools of, you know, what, if I want to pursue this, what steps do I have to take? So I'm not proposing it or I'm not against it. It's just, I just feel like I need to make sure those tools are available to any citizen with any idea. That's how I approach this with Ryan or anybody else.
That's only fair.
Yeah.
So, Scott?
In listening to the conversation, I felt that Ryan understood what Steve just explained to him. Am I missing something?
I mean,
Had I had an opportunity to speak while Ryan was here, I would have said I sense his frustration over the process themselves, but he needs to understand, as Steve talked him through, there are certain steps that you go through and certain approval points to make this through. The process that we use here judiciously is not just a vote for us up or down
Right.
on that. He's got zoning issues overall, board to come to, and on the greater issue, we've got to deliberate on that. And here's one deciding point. Do we feel confident to put it as a warrant article, yay or nay? If it's nay, then it's a petition route. He's got to gain certain signatures to bring that forth to go. Then he's got to wait for a town meeting, up or down on that one. I wish you would have stayed, because I want to make sure that he understands that. We're not trying to be obstructionists on this. There's certain steps you need to take, and we're absent any written documents here as to what he's proposing. I understand the concept, but there's nothing here that I could explain to a citizen to say, here's what this proposal might be or not. So I'm sorry that he left. And I know, Steve, that you walked him through the steps also. It is what it is.
And I think he could gain some insight into the process by going to the zoning board. That's the first nut to crack, to find out if, you know,
right.
they're a body of citizens and can probably, you know, help him hone this thing or whatever into something that's, you know, that can be moved past them, you know, up as a warrant article. So, yeah, you learn by going through processes, and you're right. I think Ryan thinks that it can be expedited. It really can't. It has to be patiently considered and done, and then finally go for a vote. And it's just, yeah, it is a long road to hoe, but.
Can I ask procedurally, for that portion that would go to zoning on the number in that particular district, would it come from the zoning board to us up or down from their vote? Would we see it anyways, or if they rejected it, would that stop?
That'd be the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, they exactly. I think, you know, if they decide no, absolutely not, we're not gonna consider any more stores downtown, because, yeah, that would stop that part of it.
Okay.
But that's dealing with the downtown. If Ryan was interested in having a store and just modifying the ordinance to add a few numbers to different categories, but on a town-wide basis and not fool with a structure we put in place for the downtown, then that's another route that might be easier for him to pursue. But I think he's quite set on having a store downtown.
Yep.
And so.
Well, with the larger issue of free enterprise that he states, does that have to go before zoning or planning, or would that come right to us from him?
I mean, it all comes
first.
It all comes down to whether we want to open up the numbers. Right now, we're saturated. All of our permits are taken. So,
Yep.
You know, that we are where we are, and we're just sticking to that until the time comes when anything is modified with the ordinance through that process.
But my question is, does the planning board get first crack at the global issue? Like zoning would on the downtown district?
I think it's good to include them. I think anything we propose for land use should go, yeah, it's required to go. If you change the table of uses in the zoning ordinance, you have to go to the zoning board first.
Yes.
But you're right, once something's drafted, then it would go to the planning board just for comment.
Okay.
And then the proponent would have to come and make a case with this board of why there should be a warrant article for such in the ordinance.
Okay.
You know, changing, expanding the area you could have downtown, the numbers, and putting more of them throughout the town, or, you know, it's a plastic thing right now. It's not, I think, but Ryan seems to have really honed in on the downtown, whereas I think it might fly a little better if somebody was coming in and just saying, hey, you need a few extra of these stores and manufacturing and grows, but not downtown. If it was, I think, you know, I think Dennis kind of alluded to that, you know, we could, and Mike, that was a tough part of the whole thing, getting it adopted was, you know, listening to the downtown people and getting a consensus of the citizens town-wide
There is a,
of how they wanted their town to appear. But, you know, towns are different, have different personalities. Wilton's decided to do what they're doing, but, you know.
He expected us to be the answer, to give him the authority to do it, and
it would seem.
as
to-
Steve explained to him, he has to go one or two other places before he comes to us. So I guess we'll see him in court.
I would just like to reiterate as well, we don't have to agree as a board for something, as, let me re-explain that. We don't have to agree with what's being presented in front of us, but if it meets our criteria, we will still put it forward no matter what our personal opinion of it is, regardless. I mean, I think we're all, the five of us are very professional when it comes to that. I think we can all agree that not five of us always agree on everything that we put forth. But we always have the interest of the town in our thoughts, and that's what's supposed to be first. So I just want to reiterate that. But Mike, go ahead real quick, please.
And maybe I reacted a little harsh with him, but I just, the ordinance now says it's what, 5 businesses? We have a limit, how many you can have. 1 in the downtown, but total of 5
As far as stores,
stores.
we have a total number of 7, 4 adults and 3 medicals.
So 3 medical, okay. Okay, so that's what we put in the ordinance. Somebody wants to open a store and they see that the ordinance says the limit is at 7, there's no slots. Then the reason I reacted the way I did is because we're gonna be asked to take the ordinance and change that 7 to 9 or 11.
He wanted it open.
Huh?
There was no number.
You wanted no
He
number.
wanted open.
Yeah, well, okay, that's 9.
Good luck.
He wants to change the number, increase the number. I'll just take the number away and let it go. And that's why I reacted the way I did and said, no, that's why we put the ordinance in Farmington the way that it is. So for someone to townspeople are gonna have to convince me that that's what they want. That's where it's gotta come from. They're the ones that put what we have, so I now I'm repeating myself, but I just wanna make sure that I understood what was being said.
I would encourage Mr. Morgan to go through the process, though. That's what it's here for. It works.
Exactly.
If he wants to change, it's here, and I'm on the fence whether I personally agree with it, but if it gets put in front of me and it's written the way it needs to, I would certainly not hesitate to put it in front of the people regardless of how I feel about it. That's our job. So, with that, we will move along to item number 6. And that's for Robin Hutchinson to address the board regarding a Morrison Hill incident on August 26, 2021. Christian, you have anything on this real quick before we let Mr. Hutchinson speak?
Yes, just that we had the complaint on the 26th, and the complaint about the portion of the road off the pavement, and it was addressed by the Public Works Department, I believe that same day, and there is a variety of criteria in regards to the liabilities that
Color
to that
copies of
point.
it's in here. Sorry.
Perfect. All right,
Color.
appreciate that, so. Go ahead, Robin.
Who is the town attorney?
Amanda Meter.
Yeah, Amanda Meter.
Amanda Meter.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. I brought my tire for you guys to see personally what happened. I went off the edge of the road and bent my rim. This, I can put it up here if you'd like.
I prefer you wouldn't.
Oh, okay. Well,
You might want to show the camera.
that rim, to run that will ruin the bearing. I know. Well, you guys probably know that. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. I love this stuff. Town report by Ronald Gelbert. Okay, you got that.
You do.
He mentions a couple lines down. Well, he says, I proceed to fill a wash. Should have put wash out, be correct. But it wasn't just a washout, it was where big trucks had torn it up too, on the corner. And he says it's about 2 to 3 inches deep. I can show you pictures right now that will contradict that. Does that look I'm sorry.
Okay.
What I should have done was put my hand in the hole, but does that look 2 to 3 inches to you? Does that look 2 to 3 inches to you? Or does this look 2 to 3 inches to you?
Yeah, you just put it right there, right? We'll pass them around.
And there's another thing that Ronald Jalbert didn't mention was how many yards of crushed rock he put in that. Because that is what he put in it, not gravel. It was crushed rock, and I have a picture of that. I took the liberty, before I came here tonight, I took a picture of what he put in there. Which he doesn't mention on how many yards of crushed rock he filled the area. He said, I spread out a little gravel. That's a lie. 2 or 3 inches. That's a lie. I understand he works for the town. He's trying to save the town
Be
money.
careful, Robin.
Well,
Just be careful.
I know for a
No,
fact.
Just be careful, that's all I'm gonna say.
I
to you.
am.
He's
I
not
know
here,
for a
nobody's
fact.
here to defend themselves.
I
Be
know for a
careful.
fact it's a lie. It's a lie. Both of them. Both statements is
Please
a
move
lie.
on.
Come on, let's be real here. You can see that is no 2 or 3 inches. Obvious.
Can you prove that you went off right there? Can you prove
Yeah,
it?
well, there's, of course I can. Are you saying that I lied and made this up?
You're just telling everybody
Because
that
I
made a
think it's
statement
pretty
right here is a
sad for the
liar.
town of Farmington to treat their own citizens like this too.
Well, you're sitting here calling these guys liars.
Well,
What were you doing off the side of the road anyway?
I can prove that. If needed, I can prove that, yes.
You're gonna have to.
Excuse me. In this,
Are you just saying you're gonna have to? That you believe in what you're seeing or what I'm saying? Is that what you're saying, Matthew?
I'm saying you need to prove it to me, is what I'm saying.
Well, I am proving it to you. The picture's right there.
this picture shows the edge of the road. Is this where you went off in this section of road?
Yes,
That's all washed out and no ditch.
correct,
So the pavement stopped and you went off the pavement and that's what the damage.
correct. And I stopped immediately.
Well, I expect you might.
Yeah, well-
But you did go off the pavement.
Yes.
And I wasn't going that fast, and I stopped immediately, and it blew my tire. So then I had to back up it, and back across the road, so I weren't in the road.
So now, and all Matt's asking you is how you're gonna say that you went off right there, or right here, or right here.
Because there was a lady that lived right there that I asked if I could park my
Don't get
car.
excited, I'm just
I'm
asking.
not excited. There was a lady that lived right there that said I could park the car while I changed my tire to get it to the VIP, to get another tire, to be able to get my car home.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
can I
sir.
make a point?
Yes, please do.
As far as Maine's, it's referred to as the pothole law. There are three different facts that have to be established to counteract the general municipal liability of the town. And the third
Look at all
element
the rock he
is the
put.
most important. The town must have had at least 24 hours prior notice of the defect in the road and failed to correct the defect. So we hadn't received specific information regarding that particular area prior to, and it would appear to me, therefore, that the town is not liable based on the lack of notification.
Does that look like gravel to you, or is that crushed rock?
I really can't tell from here, I see a lot of rock. What were you doing off the side of the road?
Because there was a car that was a little, like, he came around the corner and I just, like, hugged onto the side of the road. I didn't go off the road. My tire went off the edge of the road, is what happened.
Go ahead, Steve.
Well, you know, the total charges of all this is $649.37.
Yeah.
I have all the receipts.
Yeah, no question that. Go ahead, Steve.
Robin, let me give a try at this.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm sympathetic with your plight because I have had something similar happen to me where my tire and wheel hit a sinkhole that came up from wet weather, bent the cords in my tire so it would rebalance after that, and I bent my rim also in a expensive imported car rim and went through all of those expenses. So believe me, I feel your pain on that. It wasn't in Farmington, it was the neighboring town, but it doesn't matter. Similar kind of a situation where there was a need for correction on that. And I immediately called the town and reported that to them, and by state statute, they were required to get right out and get that corrected, which they did,
They did.
like that.
They did. Promptly. That
But-
day. Within 30 minutes,
Yep,
probably.
And they did, and towns are generally pretty responsible about doing that, and they're required to, and towns want to be able to avoid those kinds of issues. The problem being that with the miles of roads that communities have at any given time, without them knowing about a particular hazard, can't be there at the moment to correct everything as quickly as the thing happened. Any more than in the wintertime when we get a rain or a sleet storm and it covers every mile of sidewalk in the community and people are concerned about slips and falls. We can't be out there on every mile of highway or sidewalk to get those corrected. Sadly, I wish that had been reported by somebody earlier and we could have got it out and got it done before you went around that corner.
Well, I'm one of the ones that was gonna report it. Then this happened to me.
That's what we need.
And it was like, you know, if somebody had gone off that with a bicycle, they'd been had some serious harm done to them. This is this is where actually my rim hit, I noticed, where that piece is taken out of the road. But it was more like a foot down. I mean, you can see that this looks like a gopher or something that dug the trench there. That's all a trench.
Weather and traffic and wear and tear will do those things. And
Well,
they do
that's
need to
what
be
it was.
They do need to be reported, and they need to be corrected in a timely
That's
fashion once we know about them.
That's right. And the water, see, water, where that road is, the angle runs off that road into that side. And not only that, these big trucks and their big tires, they run over anything. Rip whatever up. They don't care. They go off the road. Bounce back on the road. You know?
Probably the
Oh.
reason why part of the repair that was done was crushed rock that would tend not to wash off as quickly
Right.
as just gravel.
Yeah, it was crushed rock. He did a good job. I can say that. It was definitely needed to be done.
Well,
But, you know,
Go ahead, Christian.
This is speaking. And I would like to say that, the town certainly appreciates Mr. Hutchins reporting the issue as soon as it happened, so that it could be corrected quickly. So I just wanted to make sure he was aware of that.
Okay. But after, seeing what our laws are and everything, I just don't, I don't feel that we're responsible for that.
I'd like to see your laws. Because I need to see your laws. I need to see where you're not responsible for the breakdown lane on the road. I'd like to see that one.
He's gonna show you right
There
there.
and the next page.
What?
That and over on the other
What
side.
does it say about a road? That's irrelevant from what we're talking about here.
In this particular, in any road situation, regardless of the size of the right of way, the issue at hand is
I guess.
the notification at least 24 hours prior.
Well, I guess the town, it seems like the town's got plenty of money to spend for an attorney, because that's what you're gonna end up doing with that guy that just left, and with me too. If this is the way it's gonna go, and you guys don't feel and you don't think that was only 2 or 3 inches, which obviously it is, and you're liable for that, which you are, because there's so many feet, so many inches off the edge of the road that the town is liable for. And if somebody happened to go off that with a bicycle and got seriously harmed, you'd be looking at a big lawsuit.
Our lawyer has vetted this, and because of that, I'm gonna follow her judgment. I didn't go to law school. I'm gonna trust her judgment, and I don't know how everybody else feels on this.
I want to
That's my
ask you
opinion.
guys, does that look 2 or 3 inches to you? Come on, be honest.
It looks like a typical main road.
Does it look 2 or 3
Looks like a
inches to
typical main
you?
road to me.
Does it look 2 or 3
Without
inches to you?
something to scale it by, you really
Come
can't
on,
tell.
you won't answer the question, huh?
I answered the question.
What's
Without a scale, like you said, had you put your hand in there and we could
It's
judge
obvious, that's more than 2 or 3
it.
inches.
It could very well be more.
What do
than
I gotta
2
get, a
inches.
professional here?
It could very well be.
A
more than
professional
2
that can look at a picture and tell you? Because I'll get one if
Well,
needed.
you better get one.
I will. You guys, this ain't the way you treat people of the town, I'll tell you. And have that on record.
Bob, in the
Mr. Chairman, this is Christian. May I make a comment?
Please do.
So in regards to the depth of the trench, which again is not the crux of the issue, but in any event, with regards to that, the initial way that the picture has been sent in, it did appear to be only 2 to 3 inches. Upon looking at the image
Give me it.
directly itself, myself opened on the computer, it did appear to be a little bit deeper. You know, it could have been somewhere between whatever 4 and 6 inches. But regardless of the depth of that trench, it comes back to that third point in regards to the prior notification. So unfortunately, the town does not have liability there, and the town certainly recognizes and respects Mr. Hutchins' ability and to pursue whatever remedy he feels most appropriate.
Does the board feel that we need a motion on this, or are we in consensus, or how do we want to do this?
We have been asked to approve or deny his request for reimbursement for the damage to his tire.
I believe so, that's what you're looking for, right,
That's all
Robin?
I'm looking for.
Yep.
So I would say you need a vote.
649.37, I'd even go even better than that. I'd even accept half of that, than none at all. Just to get it resolved and let's all go on our merry way.
Well, is that,
I mean,
I'm gonna ask a question before I
Yeah.
make a motion. This figure I have here from VIP,
yeah,
that's what it is $134?
that was for the tire.
So what is it you're asking for?
The rim cost $441.
That's a new rim too.
That's a
I don't
new
see
rim,
that.
brand new rim, yeah. You can't buy if you buy a used rim, how do you know it's not warped?
Yeah, but I don't see that.
You don't buy used rims.
I don't see that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We did receive a copy of the receipt.
Okay,
For both
okay.
the tire and the.
I don't-
and the rim.
I don't
I
know.
just wanted to.
This is the copy.
You
This
meant,
is
you
the
said
receipt
6
right
something,
here.
I just didn't know where you got that from.
Yeah, that's adding, that's from Charlie's Toyota.
I got you now.
Yeah. And then the alignment is,
Can I call
And
you?
the other,
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't
That's
give that
okay.
to you.
and I know how frustrated you are.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
But
get riled up
let's
so
just
much,
say
but I just feel disappointed.
You're somewhere else in
You know.
town, and there's a washout, and it's a foot deep.
Well,
Washes out the whole side.
right,
Then you've got, and someone goes into that
yeah,
before we can get there and fix it. You got that, town has got to be allowed to have time to
Yeah.
repair that.
yeah, I was planning on it, and like I mentioned
So
to
that's the
Nancy,
point, is
there's
no matter
another,
how, whether it's 2 or 3 or a foot, the
yeah,
town needs time to be made aware
yeah,
and then get there. Well, this big rainstorm and the washouts that took place, they're
Wow.
out doing that wherever they have to be done, and this one hadn't gotten to yet.
well, these big trucks, the trucks are ripping the road, sides of roads up, I can tell you.
Yeah, but that's a
That's
washout.
That's a moot point, that's not what we're talking
Right.
about here though.
Yeah, I know, you're saying about the weather we've had too, but that, the woman that lives there, she said to me, she goes, no wonder I've been finding number plates. She lived right across the road from that, right next to that. Why didn't she report it? Why don't people report things?
There you go.
People need to step up and report and speak. The problem is, people finally, with this COVID and everything, finally people are speaking up, finally. Because they had enough.
You got a motion?
I do. I make a motion that we
I wanted to,
deny Mr. Hutchinson's request for reimbursement for damage to his tire and rim.
I wanted to mention something else too. 'Cause
Really quick,
Nancy-
please.
Nancy will witness to that. I did also after this made a report about a corner right by the dam that drops right off to like, somebody go off the road and go in there, they'll be seriously hurt too.
We do
So I
appreciate
did
that.
do my duty there.
We appreciate that. So,
Which road was that?
It's on the Temple Road, it's right across from the dam.
so there's been a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Been a motion and a second to deny the request for compensation regarding Mr. Hutchinson's tire and rim. Any more questions, comments from the board? Seeing none, all in favor? Unanimous. Again, we're very sorry, Robin,
All
that
right,
happened.
the thing is, it's gonna cost town more money, because I'll just take it to small claims court,
That's-
and we'll
that's
house
your
it
right.
out there.
And that's your right.
That's
So,
all.
I wish you luck.
This,
Moving
I
along to
feel
item number
bad for
7.
anybody.
To-
This happens to.
Have a good night, Robin.
You too. Thank you.
Item number 7 is to approve 4 municipal quitclaim deeds. And I actually have those right in front of me. Is there a motion?
If you want to read it fast, I've got it all typed out, starting right here.
Starting right here
Yeah.
with the XX. What's
Property
that?
Shamila, Shamila Duwop.
I have nothing else to say.
Yeah, didn't
Okay.
give me a habit to start.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Better than TV.
Property,
Yeah.
Shamila DeWatley, 199 Temple Road, Rebecca Ann Fournier, 58 Lucy Knowles Road, Lot R Road 3-032, Kenneth W. Imlay Jr., 168 Sandy River Terrace, map, lot R14-048-009, and John Metcalf Jr., Fairbanks Road map, lot R14-050-B. Do you need that repeated?
No, I would so move to approve those 4 deeds.
I'll second. Go ahead, Beck.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the 4 Ds that I just read off. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Unanimous, thank you. And while we're signing that,
You gotta sign all of them.
There are 4
There's
signed.
4
There's 4.
individuals.
wow.
It's 1, 2,
You
3,
see, I didn't pay
4.
attention. Oh, okay. Well, we'll move on to item number 8, and I'll go back to that. And that's to approve 4 cemetery lot conveyances.
Start right there.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve 4 cemetery lot conveyances.
I will second that motion also.
Well, I'm gonna read it now just because I can.
Okay.
There's been a motion and a second to approve 4 cemetery lot conveyances, starting with Peter Bean and Deborah Daggett, 4 graves in Fairview. Larry and Patty Donald, 1 grave in Fairview. Brian L. Taylor and Carol G. Taylor, 2 graves in Fairview. And Allison Walker, 4 graves in Fairview. I just have a quick question. Didn't we do Brian and Carol Taylor last meeting?
Must be new ones.
Okay, I was just curious. Then a motion and a second to approve all of those names. Questions, comments?
Who was it?
Sounds good.
Who was the first and second?
Steve.
Steve, and you were the second?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Number 9? Oh,
Yep.
hold on, I gotta sign my papers first.
You do this on purpose, Nancy. Sometimes put my name second, sometimes put it last, sometimes put the middle initial, sometimes you do, sometimes you're
I do.
really,
I don't do
you're
those.
making this
All
very,
I do is copy them.
very confused. Can't keep confusing me like that.
It's fun to watch though. So, anyways, item number 9 is to accept the letter of retirement from Fire Chief Terry Bell to retire on November 30th, 2021.
Motion to accept with our gratitude and look forward to his continued service to the department in other positions.
I would second that and agree with Stephen. Thank you very much, Terry.
Yeah, it's been a motion and a second to accept the letter of retirement from Fire Rescue Chief Terry Bell to retire on November 30th, 2021. Thankfully, he is going to stay in the department, stay active, just step down as chief. We just can't even begin to thank him for what he's done for this community over the years. So, having said that, all in favor? Unanimous. So, Perfect. Item number 10 is to approve the minutes of September 28th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion, a second, to approve the minutes of September 28th, 2021. All in favor? Unanimous? Okay, got a couple things in other business that I'll start with. Oh, actually, Christian, you got anything off the top of your head first?
Just the only thing is I would like to thank the board for the respectful manner in which they afforded the individuals on the agenda, and as they would any citizen, due process. That was appreciated.
We try.
Yeah.
Tried to bite the tongue.
All right, couple things here. Hard to believe, but it's been 20 years since the campus went into a sustainable campus coalition at UMF. Hard to believe, but it's been 20 years. That says, come join us in celebrating the Sustainable Campus Coalition and all of the accomplishments made by the student, faculty, and staff throughout the existence of the coalition. We hope to see you there. Make sure to wish the SEC a happy birthday. And that is Friday, October 29th, 2021 at 11:45 to 1. And there will be catering. Pass that around.
I know Christian was interested to see if any one of us could attend that.
It sounds interesting.
It is. And unfortunately for me, I'm not available at that particular time. It'd be nice if someone else could.
With a reminder, I will plan on it. I just need to make sure I get reminded.
Yeah.
You calling Nancy?
Me too.
My red pen, I,
Make sure
Just make
they,
sure you answer your phone, Mike.
make sure they're
When was
both.
that, November something?
the 29th.
October 29th. Oh, that same day I have to go with Russell, watch him get a forestry award.
Ooh, perfect.
Same thing.
And also, we have a ribbon cutting ceremony October 15th at 4 p.m. The High Peaks Alliance and University of Farmington invite the public to a ribbon cutting ceremony Friday, October 15th, celebrating the official opening of the fully accessible trail within the Prescott Field Trail System. Ribbon cutting will start at 4 p.m. at the trailhead off Front Street in Farmington, adjacent to the Big Sky Grill and Better Living Center. Now, I know they've been working on this for a while. I'm glad to see this is open. I plan on attending.
I am available that day.
I will
So-
be there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Excellent.
I too could attend as long as I get a reminder.
We will call you.
We'll try to remember.
I've traversed that new trail a couple of times now. It is excellent.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect.
I like to get my picture standing next to the town manager.
Brent is really doing a great job for the High Peaks Alliance. He concluded doing the Shiloh Pond purchase in Kingfield was a big feather in his cap. He got a lot of grant money. This, and of course, the next project is gonna be the bridge
Yes.
that he's on.
Yes, yes, yes.
Look forward to that, to discuss that.
Can't we hope we pull that one off?
Yeah, yeah,
And Scott, you're referring to the rail trail bridge?
yes.
Yes.
Yep. To be talked about more later.
Oh, yes, I'm sure we'll be talking about it again.
So, Steve, do you have anything?
I pass, thank you.
Mr. Fogg?
I think I've said enough tonight. I'm all set. Thank you for the opportunity.
Made half the gallery leave.
Sure.
Scott?
And I've got all kinds of things. I'll start with thanking Christian for his rapid response in regards to the road trip I gave him up through the Savage Road and Mosier Hill and Weeks Mills Road a little bit, fixing some potholes or getting them filled. Thank you. It makes my morning coffee run much more gentle.
You get a full cup.
Yes, I don't wear as much. And the other thing, following up on last meeting's discussion on the county commissioner vote, Senator Black and myself last week went to Rangeley and Eustis Stratton and met with their selectmen and great support from them. Last night, we were in Carabasset Valley, and of course, there was great support from them. Tonight, Representative Lyman from Jay is with Russell and Jay. I had to come here and visit you guys. So
We
I couldn't
appreciate
go down
that.
there. So, and the response, I don't know how Jay's gonna turn out, but Sheila is in support of it, as were all of the other representatives of the county, so.
Good.
You know, we're looking at some point for, a letter of support from the town of Farmington to, go ahead with it.
Yeah.
Needs to be some,
Maybe that's something we can
Yep.
revisit on the next meeting. We've had some time to digest it
Yep.
now, and
What,
Scott,
yes,
I was wondering if it would be possible, I know that at least according to my memory, that Senator Black had said that more detailed maps were being worked on. Just when possible, if myself and the board could perhaps receive a copy of a map more clearly delineating where the districts are.
I will.
I think that would be helpful.
I will try to get one. It's, the Apportionment Committee seems to have disappeared on us now that they got the
That's
big thing
convenient.
done. So, I will follow up with them, see what we can do. But either way, it's gonna be a number, a certain number, approximately 1,400 people. And
Yep.
we had some complaints as it's gonna damage the community. I don't understand how it could possibly damage us, but, we'll go there, and we'll have a chance to think it over. It's, the census numbers are the numbers, we just have to follow it. But I will attempt to get the valid,
okay, good.
or the exact delineation.
Appreciate that.
the only questions I've had to me were out of curiosity for Farmington. To show me which side of the line I fall on. Is it
Yeah.
come down High Street? Is it Perham north and
Yeah.
south? Or
Yeah.
And I said, well, it'll come.
Yeah, I'll get a hold of them, see if we can get a definite answer out of them. But that's really the big question.
I have a question, Scott. When it's what you just said, what we need sometime is what is it you need from the town? You said we need, you
We
said.
don't need it, it'd be nice to have a letter of
Like
support,
to have, so that's what I'm asking, what is it you'd like to have?
a letter of support
as a board.
as a board.
So the board, so for example, the board would authorize a letter of support to be sent in for this.
We would send a
Yeah.
letter of support saying we endorse the project.
Endorse
Yeah.
it, yes.
Yeah. Or
Because I
endorse
just want to
the
be clear
bill.
what it is you're asking for. And that's
Exactly,
clear, but
yes.
I hadn't heard it said quite that way, but now
I
now
left out
know
a few
exactly
words.
what you're looking for.
Like we did for the corridor.
Yeah,
And your firstborn.
let's not go there. Weather's beautiful, what are we doing sitting inside?
Don't know. I don't have anything. How's the weather out there, Christian? You lost him?
Christian,
Yes, it's probably about 10 to 15 degrees hotter than it is in Farmington.
Well, then you're hot then, because it's hot here.
it
Yeah,
was 75 today.
He's at home.
Wow.
Oh, beat that.
bad moose hunting weather,
Yeah, you got that right. So,
I'd offer a motion to adjourn.
I would second that.
there's been a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?